Hello, I'm Steve Weber, the host of Essential Book Drop. This afternoon, we're doing something else, a meditation on book selling. Not the bookstore, but the process of publicizing the book. With me, as always, is my co-host and my bookworm sidekick, Cassandra. Good morning, Cass.
Good morning. Oh, this is a great topic. I mean, really specific, but yeah, fascinating. I'm ready to take apart the machine one bad blurb at a time.
Cass, let's jump right in. So our mission today, folks, is a deep dive into some stuff we've gathered, basically looking at the anatomy of the terrible book blurb. We really want to figure out why this tiny, super critical piece of sales copy those 150 words that make you decide whether to buy or not, why it so often just falls flat.
Right. And what does that failure actually tell us about the whole publishing industry setup?
Exactly. Because, think about it. Every single person listening has felt this, right?
Oh, absolutely. You pick up a book, you read the back, and you just think, who wrote this?
Yeah.
Did they even read the same book I'm holding? It's baffling sometimes.
It really is. And that's the perfect starting point. Because look at publishing now. We're supposedly in this golden age of access.
Totally. Reviews everywhere, excerpts online, Goodreads ratings, professional critics.
Yeah, tons of info. But then, smack in the middle, you've got the publisher's official description, the blurb. And somehow, it's still this, stubbornly bad gatekeeper.
The irony is just, wow. I mean, a big publisher invests maybe years, right? Getting every comma perfect in the book itself.
Copy editors, proofreaders, the works.
Huge effort. And yet, the single most important sales pitch, those maybe 150 words meant to get you to actually buy it, often feels like it was dashed off in 5 minutes. A first draft casualty? Kind of.
It's a failure of language, which is nuts for a business that's supposed to be about language. How can the literary world mess up its main marketing text so consistently?
Well, it suggests the process is maybe the problem, not, the individual writers necessarily.
That makes sense.
And it's definitely a widely held grievance. Readers have been complaining about this for ages, and if you look at the complaints, there's sort of two main flavors of failure that pop up again and again.
Okay, let's break those down. The two cardinal sins, maybe? What's the first one?
Reader whiplash. That's what I call it. The blurb just gives you a completely wrong idea about the book's tone.
The sensationalizing problem. Yeah, I've seen that.
Constantly. They take this really subtle, quiet literary novel, maybe about someone tending a garden.
Right. Character study.
Exactly. And the blurb screams, a frantic globe-trotting thriller where the stakes couldn't be higher. You're just left scratching your head.
And then you buy it expecting, car chases.
Yeah.
And you get 300 pages of beautiful but very internal thoughts about perennials.
Right. The language is often just over-the-top, melodramatic. It doesn't match the feel of the actual book at all. It sets you, the reader, up for disappointment right from the start.
That's bad. But the second sin sounds worse.
Oh, it is. It's the unforgivable one. Yeah. The blurb flat out gives away major plot points. Or, God forbid, basically spoiling the majority of the book.
Our sources were really clear on this. Revealing the big twists. That can absolutely ruin a reader's whole experience.
It completely kills the tension the author works so hard to build up over hundreds of pages.
So why does that happen? If it ruins the experience, why would they do it?
Well, this failure to protect your reading experience, that points to a bigger systemic issue, what some critics call the blurb industrial complex.
Okay, sounds ominous.
It just means the system is often really insular, kind of bureaucratic, the person writing the blurb.
Yeah.
Their main focus often isn't actually you, the reader.
Who are they writing for then?
They're trying to impress other people inside the industry, gatekeepers.
Like booksellers or prize judges.
Exactly. Booksellers deciding whether to stock it, judges considering it for an award, maybe agents selling rights overseas. So the writing changes. It shifts away from the hook, what makes you want to read it now. Instead of focusing on the character's journey or the core conflict, what a reader actually connects with, the copy might start emphasizing lofty literary themes.
So it becomes more abstract.
Yeah. The copywriter wants to signal, hey, industry people, this isn't just a story, it's a serious commentary on postmodern alienation or whatever.
Which might be true, but doesn't tell me if I'll enjoy reading it tonight.
Precisely. And then you layer on top of that those glowing quotes on the cover. The testimonials.
Yes, from famous authors.
The classic bit of industry back-scratching. We know, it's widely known, those quotes are often solicited under pressure.
Right.
They might be taken totally out of context. Or maybe the author providing the quote got the manuscript 3 days ago and, let's be honest, probably hasn't even finished it.
Wow. So it's more about connections than genuine reaction.
Often, yeah. It's a marketing layer built on who knows who, not necessarily a reflection of deep engagement with the book.
That really does make it sound detached from the art itself. Okay, so let's dig into the structure. If it's not just incompetence, it's the system itself that produces bad blurbs. Why?
I think it really boils down to this structural disconnect inside the publishing house. You've got editorial over here.
The ones who love the book worked with the author for ages.
Exactly. Championing the art, the vision, the prose. Then you've got marketing over there.
Moving fast, thinking about keywords, deadlines, sales targets.
Right. They're on this high-speed content treadmill. SEO, hitting seasonal slots, making the retailers happy.
And the poor little blurb is stuck in the middle.
Caught right in the crossfire. It's supposed to serve both art and commerce, but it often gets steamrolled by the speed and the demands of the commercial side.
It sounds like an incredibly difficult writing task, actually.
It's hugely challenging, and I think it's severely undervalued. Honestly, writing a really great blurb might be harder than writing the book's first chapter.
Really? Why?
Think about everything it has to do all at once. It's like making a perfect, punchy movie trailer, but in just, say, 2 paragraphs.
Okay. Lay it out for us. What are all those demands?
Okay, first, introduce the stakes. What does the main character desperately want or need? Second, define the conflict. What's stopping them? What's in the way?
Got it. Stakes. Conflict.
Third, establish the tone. Is this book funny, dark, cozy, romantic? You need to feel that instantly. Fourth, create a cliffhanger, a hook. Why should you buy this now and not later?
Okay, that's a lot.
And you have to do all that while being true to the book's actual feel, and the big one, absolutely no spoilers.
Whew. Okay, yeah. If someone's juggling that for dozens of books under deadline pressure, I can see how they just default to something generic.
Exactly. That's why we end up swimming in that sea of just bland, unhelpful phrases. A gripping new novel.
A journey of self-discovery.
A story that will stay with you long after you turn the final page. Ugh. They're so broad they mean nothing. They could describe almost any book.
And sometimes they're just plain wrong, aren't they? Like the blurb focuses on some minor thing from chapter 1.
Totally. And then you're reading along 50 pages in, wondering when that plot line is going to show up because the real story is something else entirely.
It creates, like you said, friction.
Yeah, friction for you, the reader. When you see copy that feels lazy or generic, you immediately start thinking, if they couldn't even summarize their own book properly, how much do they really believe in it?
Right. Does this carelessness maybe reflect the quality of the book itself?
Exactly. It makes you doubt.
Which brings us to the really interesting contrast. Because this whole traditional publishing struggle looks very different when you compare it to the self-publishing world.
Oh, yeah. It's fascinating. I mean, remember 10 years ago? The attitude from the sort of old guard, the legacy publishers, the establishment critics.
Oh, I remember. Very dismissive.
Totally. Often ludicrously arrogant, some sources called it. They basically wrote off indie authors as, like, losers or amateurs who just weren't good enough for the real system.
But that whole perspective just completely missed what was actually happening.
Completely. Today's successful indie authors, they're not failed writers. They're often incredibly, highly motivated entrepreneurs.
Focused on different things.
Right. They prioritize owning their work, moving fast, and this is key, having a direct, really close connection with their readers.
And that changes how they approach things like the blurb.
Massively. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? Or in this case, maybe the mother of better copywriting.
Okay.
When you strip away all those layers of meetings and departments, when the author themselves is directly responsible for whether the book sells or not, they are laser focused on getting that blurb perfect.
Because for them, it's not just some administrative task.
Not at all. For an indie author, that blurb is the book's main salesperson. If it doesn't work, they literally might not make rent. That pressure creates results.
Okay, so that investment translates into better copy. What are the specific advantages? Why do indie blurbs often seem to convert better?
Well, there are 3 huge ones that stand out. First, and this is massive, the immediate feedback loop.
Meaning?
A traditional blurb, like we said, it's basically set in stone months before launch. Changing it is like turning a battleship.
Right. Takes forever if it happens at all.
But an indie author selling on Amazon or wherever, they can write 5 different blurbs today, run A/B tests, and literally watch the sales data change in real time.
Wow.
If one blurb isn't converting, they can rewrite it this afternoon and see if the new one does better tomorrow. That kind of rapid, data-driven tweaking Impossible in the old system.
So they're not guessing. They actually know what language makes people click buy.
Precisely. Okay, second big advantage. Deep understanding of niche and trope.
What does that mean exactly?
An indie author usually lives and breathes their specific genre. They're in the reader communities online. They know their target romance reader isn't just looking for, a story of passion.
They're looking for specifics.
Exactly. They're searching for very specific, highly marketable keywords and tropes. Things like grumpy sunshine, billionaire enemies to lovers, forced proximity, fake dating. They know cozy mystery readers want that plucky amateur sleuth and the charming small-town setting mentioned right away.
Because that's the promise of the genre. That's what the reader is buying.
Yes, they want that specific flavor. Traditional marketing departments, though, they often tend to smooth out those edges. They dilute those super specific niche terms.
Why? To make it seem more appealing to everyone.
Kind of, yeah, in a sometimes misguided attempt to reach a broader audience. But in doing so, they often lose the passionate core readership who are looking for those exact signals. They end up marketing to everybody and really hooking nobody.
Makes sense. Okay, and the third advantage?
It comes back to that personal stake and motivation. It's simple, really. The indie author is writing that blurb for their livelihood, for their income.
Their own survival.
Right. That personal investment, that need for it to work, it comes through in the writing. You feel the energy, the precision, the emotional punch. Now, contrast that with, say, a very capable but maybe overworked publishing house copywriter who's got 49 other blurbs to write this month.
Just checking a box on a to-do list?
It might be perfectly competent, but you can often feel the difference in investment. One feels functional, the other feels driven by this deep desire to connect the right reader with this book they poured their heart into.
So, okay, bringing this all together, when you, the listener, are browsing for books online or in a store, what does this mean? How should we think about blurbs now?
Well, I think the blurb becomes this really interesting little diagnostic tool. It tells you something about the publishing world that created it.
How so?
When you read a blurb that's just weird or clunky or totally generic, maybe confusing, don't automatically assume the book itself is bad or the author can't write.
It might not be about the author's skill at all.
Exactly. It might just be a signal flare from a flawed marketing pipeline inside the publisher. It's just maybe there was a disconnect. The people who loved the book weren't the same people who wrote the sales pitch, or they didn't communicate well.
Okay. But what about the opposite? What if the blurb is great?
Right. If you read a description and it's sharp, it's punchy, it hooks you immediately with the stakes, nails the tone, maybe uses that really specific genre language we talked about,
Then what?
then you should know. You're very likely looking at the work of a savvy, probably self-published entrepreneur. Someone who understood that blurb wasn't just text on a page. It was maybe the single most vital piece of advertising they had. And they treated it that way.
That's a really useful lens.
It leaves you with a final thought to chew on, maybe. We focus today on the blurb, right, as the key sales tool. But think beyond just the words on the back cover. What other parts of the whole book buying experience are maybe routinely overlooked or treated as just formalities by the traditional industry that an outsider, like a really motivated indie author, has had to absolutely master just to compete, just to survive?
Like maybe cover design.
Yeah.
Or even the keywords used in online listings, the metadata, price strategy.
Exactly. All those little details of discovery, things the indie world has had to get really, really good at. It makes you wonder, is the traditional industry always paying close enough attention to how readers actually find and decide to buy books today?
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Always a pleasure. It was fun digging into the messy, fascinating heart of the publishing machine.
Until next time, keep on opening new worlds with new ideas. And whatever you do, remember this.
When you think there,
Your mind becomes its own kingdom.